3-second rule. Hit me on the nose. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the time I almost died. It's not even clickbait. Okay, so let's set the scene. The day is, remember the 5th of November. The 5th of November. The date is the 5th of November 2016. It's bonfire night here in the UK. And I have to go and get the horses in. And we have a great idea. We think, let's go and get them in a little bit early so that they won't get spooked by the fireworks. So that's the scenario that we're facing. So when we had to get them in, so we're obviously in the field. The field was here. There was a little country lane, just a really little narrow country lane, no biggie. And then the yard was here. We had to cross this teeny tiny country lane, literally, not even like down the road or up the road, not even, literally just across the road into the field. And we're thinking, obviously, that we're doing something good because we're trying to avoid them being stupid by the fireworks by going in early to get them. That turned out to be a mistake. So I've got Jimmy, who's the thoroughbred, and my dad has Timmy, who's the little cob. And I can't remember who was in front. I think Timmy was in front. And we get to the side of the road. I've got the horses. They're here. We're standing by the edge of the road. And the last thing I remember was seeing two cyclists quite far off. And they were cycling up the road. And I just remember thinking, oh, we've got tons of time to cross before the cyclists. And that is where my version of the story ends, and everybody else then fills in the gaps of what happened because I was concussed, so I can't remember a thing. So then apparently, so we get to the edge of the road and we look both ways. Always look both ways before crossing. So apparently we're crossing the road. Cyclists still coming, still got loads of time, crossing the road. And then, apparently, I don't know this because I don't remember, Jimmy, the one that I had, spooked. So he apparently rushed forward. I was trying to cling on to him and then lost my balance. I fell. As I was falling, he span and obviously went to run. Well, if you know horses, you know that they sort of push off when they run. You know, they kind of they propel themselves. Do they propel themselves? I don't know. What's that word? It's like runners. When runners are about to just go, they push back, don't they? Off the things. So that's obviously what he did. He pushed back as he went to run, and he just clipped me in the back of my head with his pushback. And yeah, that was me. That was me kicked in the head. Kicked in the head by my horse. So apparently I landed in front of Timmy. So that's the one, my dad and our little cob, Timmy. And Jimmy just left me. He didn't care. He was gone. He was saving himself from the scary cyclist. Oh, I've got hair in my mouth. Nasty. Yeah, so I was on the floor, apparently. My dad hadn't, I don't quite understand how this whole story links together, but apparently my dad couldn't see that I was bleeding out the back of my head, and somebody else saw and was like, oh my god, she's bleeding out the back of her head. And I was just sitting on the floor going, I don't want an ambulance. I don't want an ambulance. I'm fine. I'm good. I don't want an ambulance. My dad was like, okay, well, can you sit up? And I was like, nope. I can't feel my arms or my legs. Well, at that point, panic obviously set in, and my dad was like, I think you need an ambulance. I don't think you can just go home. I just wanted to go home. I was done. I just wanted to go home. I was so done. But obviously that wasn't possible because I couldn't move. Thank God, luckily, as the accident happened, this is a really quiet little country road, right? Not a lot of traffic goes down it, not that much. As it happened, a nurse drove past and a midwife drove past. So was it my lucky day? Well, I mean, I was kicked in the head, so probably not. But I was lucky that a nurse and a midwife passed as the accident happened. So they obviously jumped out, bandaged up my head. It's so weird because I can't remember any of this. And then the next thing I remember was I was lying on the ground. It felt like I'd woken up. Like, it was that feeling like, oh, I've just woken up, even though I was awake through the whole thing. And I was on the ground, I was lying on my back. I had somebody at my head that I didn't know, somebody at my feet that I didn't know. I was covered in people's coats and blankets, because obviously it was November, so it was really cold. And I was so confused. I was like, oh my God, how did I get here? What's happened? Why am I on the ground? Who are you? And who are you? And what the hell? How did I get here? What's going on? Why am I covered in coats and blankets? And what? And then the lady at my head was like, shh, just lay still. You're bleeding out of your head. The ambulance is on its way. Well, at that point, I was like, lady, who are you? I'll insert some pictures right here. Look away if you're squeamish, okay? Because there's a little bit of blood. My boyfriend, who's also called Charlie, was at a football match. And apparently I just kept saying, has someone told Charlie? Does Charlie know? Is Charlie on his way? Is Charlie coming back from football? Does Charlie know? Has anyone told Charlie? Someone rang Charlie? And obviously I didn't know. I just kept repeating myself. In the mix was, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Lady, am I going to be okay? I was out of it. That must have been so annoying for everybody else. Yes, Charlie's been found. Yes, Charlie is on the way. Yes, Charlie is coming back from football. So I had 2 ambulances and 1 set of first responders attend, and I remember when they were doing the checks, you know, they do the whole, can you feel this? Can you feel this? Can you feel this? Well, it got down to one of my arms. They did it all down my legs, and I was like, yep, can feel you, brilliant. Got to mine with my left arm, and they were tapping me, and I was like, I can feel it, but I can't feel it properly. I was like, it feels like tingly. Up until that point, they'd planned to take me to the local hospital. Well, at this point, it switched, and they were like, we need to go to a more specialist hospital. You need to go to a more specialist hospital. So they sent me to like one of the big ones in London. I got rushed off into hospital, and I remember in the ambulance, I was like, I wanted to speak to Charlie, obviously, that was my main concern at that moment in time. So I was speaking to Charlie on the phone. He was like, I couldn't remember anything from the day. Apparently I had a pizza for lunch. Didn't remember that. Apparently everybody went out and I was left at home with a pizza. Not a clue. But I remember in the morning, Charlie was on the toilet and he was tapping his feet on the floor. And I was like, I texted him, I was like, can you stop tapping your feet on the floor? Because it's really annoying. I was like, I can hear you from downstairs and you're tapping your feet and it's really infuriating. I remembered that. Clearly that was an important part of my day. And I remember in the ambulance, I got an itch on this like part of my nose, but I was like completely strapped down. Like my arms were strapped down, my legs were strapped down. I remember saying to the man in the ambulance, I was like, can you itch this part between my eyes, please? Because it's really itchy and I can't get it. And he was like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever been asked. And I was like, you're welcome. Funny story, you know that programme 24 Hours in A&E? I was so nearly on that programme. We went to that same hospital and the people in the ambulance were like, when we arrive, don't be put off if a camera crew starts following you. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. My 5 minutes of fame the day that I nearly die. He was like, they were filming 24 Hours in A&E last week. I haven't been back there since. I don't know if they're still there. Luckily they weren't. Well, kind of luckily. I don't know. I don't know if I'd like to look back on that. I don't know. So I didn't get followed around by a camera crew filming my journey of being kicked in the head by my horse. Yeah, I got rushed into, I don't know if it was a CT or an MRI. What one looks at your brain and stuff? Not a clue. Don't know. Either one of them, CT or MRI. I got rushed through one of them. They had to change the bandage on my head because I was bleeding so much that the bandage that like the nurses had put on had filled up and they had to change it. Yeah, and then what the annoying thing was, well, it wasn't annoying. It was, I was lucky that the CT, MRI, whatever it was, came back clear. But that also meant because I was at a massive, massive hospital, I could like, obviously, I went down the priority list and I ended up just lying there for hours. because obviously I wasn't a priority anymore. They had all these emergencies coming in, you know, the NHS is stretched, and I was just, my MRI, CT thing, my brain was fine. I didn't have a bleed on the brain. I didn't have any sort of problems. It was literally just a bad, jagged, deep cut on the back of my head. Ugh, I had this really bad nurse. I mean, you know, all nurses, they're brilliant. I love what they do. Thank you for the service that you provide. Brilliant. But this one, he was saying all the wrong things. Obviously, this cut is right on the back of my head here. I can't see it. I don't know what's going on. He comes over to examine it. He looks and he goes, oh, that's quite deep. Oh, I can't see the bottom of it. And I'm like, thanks. You're making me feel great here, mate. And then he goes, oh, I'm not sure that I can actually fix this. I might have to make it a bit worse before I can make it a bit better. And I was like, whoa, hold up. I've worked in a vet. I know what that means. That means that you're going to cut this, you're going to slice it so that you can get a cleaner, like, line so that you can stitch it up. I was like, no, you're not slicing my head open. I was like, I don't like this. You're not making me feel great about this. Luckily, he backed out. He was like, I don't think I can do this. I'm gonna go and get someone a bit more senior. I was like, yeah, see ya. Bye bish. And then this other senior guy came and he was like, oh yeah, it's quite like a jagged cut. It's not like a clean cut. It was like, so he said, basically, we're gonna have to, he was like, I can't put like dissolvable stitches in or whatever. I can't glue it back together. We're gonna have to go for full whack, like proper stitches. So he came along, he put this like numbing cream on, and he said, I'll be back in 15 minutes, your head will be numb then. Lovely. But that turned out to be a massive lie. He didn't come back for another 45 minutes, by which point my head had gone numb, and then the numbness had worn off. He comes along, then he says, all right, I'm just going to put some, it's just going to sting a little bit. Lie, it didn't sting a little bit, it stung a lot. He puts injections into the cut in my head and then stitched it up. It was horrible. It was the worst pain. Those injections did not sting a little bit, they stung a lot. It really, really hurt. Having needles shoved inside your head, inside a deep cut. Worst pain of my life. I screamed. It was really late, I was really tired, and I screamed. Anyway, sewed my head back up, and then he was like, right, you're good to go. I sat up. Oh my god, I was so dizzy because I'd been lying down for so long. By the time I actually stood up, I couldn't walk. I was like, whoa. I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. I was like, I cannot stand up. So I had to be basically led. My boyfriend then decided that he wanted to go for a wee, so he sat me down waiting in the waiting area. I've got half my hair plaited, half of it out, covered in blood. I've got the hospital gown on, and I'm just sat there in the waiting room on my own, and everyone's looking at me like this. It looked like something out of a horror film. It was horrendous. So there we go. That was the night that I nearly died. What a night, hey? Bonfire Night 2016 was one to be remembered. The one lesson that I've learnt from all of this, even the safest, most reliable horses can be unpredictable. You'll never relax, never take your eyes off the ball, and if you can, always wear your helmet, because if I had a helmet on that day, I would have just fallen over. And that would have been it. It would have been a little bit embarrassing, but no ambulances would have been called, no stitches in my head, none of that palaver. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see future story times like this. Hopefully there will be no more near-death experiences. And I will see you next time. Right. Oh, I'm so rubbish at this. Oh! Oh yeah.